Metaverse is a hype. If we call it metaverse, just don't call it metaverse, just call it natural evolution of technology. Look around you and see where communication is going, where social media are going, where hardware is going, where biotech is going, where AI is going.
Hello everyone and welcome yet to another episode of NewForum. NewForum brings together leaders, creators, new starters, and new perspectives on crypto, the metaverse, NFTs, social 3, and DAOs.
And on today's episode, we have Francesco Vincenti, Business Development and Partnerships Manager in the Metaverse at Somnium Space. Francesco is passionate about education and has a wide working experience with wearables, gaming, NFTs, and the Metaverse. He also launched his own podcast called the NFT Podcast. We're going to talk with him about his journey into Web3 culture and his passion for the space, as well as education. Hello, Francesco. We're super excited to have you on today's episode.
Hello. Thanks so much for having me, Salim and Joyce. It's a pleasure to be here. Happy to chat for sure.
Awesome. So, Francesco, could you tell our audience who you are? We're all curious to know who you are, your inspiration, and what you're working on currently.
All right, sure. Thanks. So I'm Francesco and I'm 24. And I would say that my journey happened when at 21, I decided to because I'm from Rome, Italy, and I decided to quit university because there were some things not working very well there with digital. And I've always been a tech guy, always wanted to learn more. So I was involved in business administration, and I say, well, let me see around. What is right now the most advancing thing in digital that I can find out there? And I found the Digital Marketing Academy. So I started with content creation, website, and let's say 360, wherever it is, digital marketing and media. And I joined a startup that's called QWare, and this startup was building something that I still can't believe it was possible when I was 21, that is a full body wearable skin suit for the human body that's basically enabled to change the temperature of your body until the most extreme sub-zero temperatures in the world. And for me, it was like working with spaceships and astronauts and aliens, I don't know, when I was just 21, and I say, okay, I like it. I like that this hardware and software. So I definitely is gonna take this as my career. Then from there, I moved to education more during COVID. I was working with a company that was recreating the way of how the education works in Italy, because as I said before, Italy is very old with education, at least for some subjects. So I was trying to create a digital platform from which schools and students could interact better. And also I was pushing on outdoor education. So why we should limit the education to a classroom, why we can have practice experiences and outdoor, especially in a city like Rome, that it's a museum. So why we don't use this city to go around and do everything that we want to do there. And then from there, like NFTs came and they arrived hard to my head and I couldn't escape from them. And I said, okay, how can I learn? No one is talking about NFTs yet because it was the beginning of 2021. How can I learn? Which is the best way? And I understand what is right now, I think, the biggest value that I got from the last years, that is leverage on people. So how can I leverage on people? Let me start my podcast actually, because my biggest fear was speaking in public. So I'm grateful that I can do it today.
Wow, you're doing it very well.
Thanks. And I was inviting people from anywhere. Like at the beginning, it was just, hey, do you want to come with me and speak about NFTs, whatever you have in your mind? I don't care about the quality of whatever is going to be the content. I just want to learn. I just want to have the feeling from you that you are in UK, you that you are in Germany, you are in US, in India, in Argentina, wherever is it. Let's speak NFTs. Let's speak how this is disrupting culture. And from there, from the NFT podcast, I also was living in UK. I moved because, of course, Italy, again, it wasn't the right place where to do NFTs. And yes, I was making an NFT exhibition there, one of the first NFT exhibition in UK. And then I leverage on my podcast again to find this amazing opportunity of working at Somnium Space, because I interviewed Arthur, the CEO, Arthur Tsichov, and I said,
okay, like I would love to contribute to this metaverse because I see that this is one of the most advanced technological companies out there, especially in Web3 and the blockchain, because we will talk later why. And yeah, I said, all right, let's do it. And I said, what do you want to do? I said, no, like I've got horizontal experience. I always said I always been lucky to work into wherever I wanted. So I learned from different fields, and I love to dedicate all these things together. And now I actually bringing all this experience back to Italy, because in 1 week from now, so on the 18th of February, I'm gonna make the first NFT event in Rome, and I feel really blessed that I found amazing people that wanted to work on this, amazing artists and event managers, because it's our occasion to bring a new technology and to create community inside this city. That it's an old city, but it's a cultural and artistic active city. So if we can mix all these things together, I'm sure we can create amazing things in Rome. So yeah, that's my story.
Wow, that's fascinating. I mean, it's an amazing story. So my understanding is that you interviewed the founder of Somnium, and then that's sort of like where the contact happened, and this whole thing started from there, in terms of like you working there started from there. That's
yes,
quite awesome. And I mean, this is some of the things that we really love about Web3, you know, like the community and all the support, and that's great. And you know, I like that you learned, you went out there, you explored, and you know, made the contacts and everything, and then you took everything back home to Rome. And I think that's really nice. You know, most of the time people move out there, they learn things, and then they never go back home, you know, to sort of develop it and to make it easier for other younger people. So I really admire that about you. Thank you for sharing.
thank you very much.
So Francesco, I'm wondering, you know, what do you see as like the potential for Web3, and what got you excited to get into this space, especially NFTs? Like, because, you know, you did your NFT podcast, and I'm wondering, like, what about NFTs and what about Web3 got you so excited?
Yeah, definitely. Everything started from understanding what was the power of ownership, and I admire any creator and anyone that is making art and digital art, for sure. Music, of course, it's I live and love with music, but right now I personally am super focused on building utility with NFTs. So how can we use this new technology to create, for example, I'm just thinking about my perspective inside the metaverse. Can we, what is the place where we can use this technology? Because one thing is displaying NFTs into a gallery in an art, but what is the real potential of using all this interconnected money of the web, that is crypto, of course, assets of the web, into space? So I always had this platform dedication. So I always wanted to build platform, because I feel good with my brain when I can put all these things together, because otherwise I got mad because I've got so many ideas, so many things to do. So I try to canalize them into different platforms. And for this time, I believe that Metaverse as a platform is the place where we can find this network effect that is genuine and powerful for putting games, art, music, and everything that is regarding real estate, everything that is regarding property, economy, all in the same place. So that's what I believe about NFTs and Web3. And I also very like a lot, like I'm speaking from my point of view that I'm 24, and I'm speaking from my point of people of my age that finally have a way to connect together, even if they are in different parts of the world, and work together on different on some projects, and finally establish some ways of peer-to-peer let's say experiences in a world that right now it's more based on, let's say, less young people judging young people. So I see it as our way to connect all together and to work together in projects that we believe it's part of our future, and then we need to inspire people that are even younger than us.
How do you see the space right now? Because from my perspective, I see like there's a lot of hype with NFTs right now, and you have the investing side, of course, and a lot of people are jumping onto the hype of the NFT. But what is like the long-term potential for NFTs? Like, what do you see? Do you think there's going to be like a balance out with NFTs in the future? Because right now everyone is trying to get their personal NFT as kind of like a money investment and not really from like a value standpoint.
Yes, sure. So I don't blame anyone for using this opportunity to definitely make money, but you have to be aware that it depends. Like if you are unable to really manage very well your economics in terms of your short-term gain is something that you can use to bring value around you, that's fine. I mean, I live with the thought that I can leave this earth, this planet, by bringing more value than how much I consume. So if I live in this way, I can understand it, because right now the NFT world, it's a mess sometimes. Let's say there are a lot of scams and there is a lot of conception of easy money. And again, I don't want to blame people to do this. I mean, like, this is just every time the humanity discovers something new, we just go all in into this. We all come to a rush. We test, we learn. The important is that this is just the first phase. There can happen a lot of mistakes, but we have to learn. So we have to pinpoint which are the right communities around the world that have the job to educate how to use this technology, because we never have to forget that everything that we're using right now, even mobile phones, it's something that arrived very fast in our life, and our brain wasn't ready to handle of these social media interactions, always connected. Now we are also heading to this, a new layer that is the opportunity of making money with this. So a lot of creators already were doing in the past, of course, like we were living in different creators economy. Right now we are in a new creators economy, thanks to NFTs. And I mean, it's amazing. We just have to do it in the right way.
Yes, I mean, I agree that we have to do it in the right way. And I also like that you said you can't really blame, the people who are monetizing or taking advantage of the situation right now. And when you're talking about like NFTs and, how the internet has so much value now, like it's almost in comparison to our real life, because, in real life we own property. So why not own property online, right? Some people struggle with this idea of like, well, if it's online and I cannot physically do anything with it, then like, what's the value? Like, what would you say to people like that?
Here, I want to mention something that we always say here in the office. That is, we forget that there are 2 billion people out there without internet and without access to the opportunity we have. So it's definitely easy for us to, let's say, to judge. And it's definitely easy for us to don't see sometimes this value, even if, for example, I see it the same. But what about people that don't have ever the experience of neither having this kind of Zoom call, so connecting with other people that they wanted? Where is for their way out of this? And if you can create this kind of virtual experiences, not that simulate real life, but what I think about NFTs is that they closed the virtual economy, right? So they finally closed everything that we did over the last 50 years, from the internet to social media to now, because they now can, thanks to NFTs, we can now have a complete economy virtual based without even going into physical. Of course, with this money and everything that we earn from this, we should reinvest into physical infrastructures, into schools, hospitals, or wherever is it that can reach people's life. But this is a way in which not only you can, let's say, trade and invest, but you can mimic social experiences. I have different lights, but one of them is definitely online. So when I'm in Somnium Space, when I'm in the Metaverse, when I'm VR, And when I'm mimicking this interaction with people in front of me, I'm speaking in live with them. And that's something very important, because I always say about this, Instagram, TikTok, or wherever is it, they have the live function, so they go live function, but we barely use this.
Right.
So I believe that definitely the future of our interaction has to be more live. And especially for people that they don't have the opportunity, like right now I'm in Prague and it's easy. I just go out of the door and I meet amazing people in pubs, in clubs, in offices, and I can connect with them. But imagine who hasn't got this opportunity,
Right.
and they want to escape, and they are closed in a tiny room with no opportunities. So that's the way to mimic a complete economy of opportunities, and definitely create more bridges, because that's my job. I create bridges between people, between countries, between whatever is it. I create bridges because I really believe that one of the key things that can change our world is communication, but it's communication with the right people and made with purpose.
Right. Maybe regarding that, because you mentioned of like what you're passionate about and what you focus on. So what is like the most important thing to you right now that is maybe, you know, you having around yourself, or that you want to focus on maybe towards the future? Like what are you focused on towards?
Everything is connected right now to building digital tools for anyone, because I understand that so many times all the problems connect to the missing of communication, technology, and education. And education is the base of any society, because we go to school, all of us, almost all of us in the world, we go to school. And I didn't met so many people that said, oh, wow, school changed my life. School gave me all the tools that I needed. But I met more people that say, like, I could have learned more at school. I hope I was learning more at school, because right now in the jobs I'm doing, all the things that I learned, they weren't so useful at the end. So definitely, if we fix education, we will fix the world. So this is what I'm passionate about. And when I mean education, I mean schools, but I mean education about, for example, for people like me, so that they were stuck into a classroom. I feel myself, I'm a creative person. So no one ever teach me to be creative. I mean, creativity is not something that has to be taught, but no one ever inspired me until I was 21. So I had to wait 21 years, a struggle, that there could be some different opportunities right there. So right now I'm focused in giving the same opportunity that I had to people similar like me. Because I mean, universities is amazing for a lot of people. A lot of people like to work for companies that I don't like to work for. So again, I don't blame anyone for their choices.
Right.
But as anyone in the world, let's say, that is trying to make his impact, I believe that I'm trying to make an impact for the people similar like me. So who is this 16 years old, 20 years old, 25 years old, sitting in a classroom with an idea, even 4 years old? If I've got nephews of 7, 6 years old, and the other day I was make them try VR, because I try to put something in their brain that will understand how much powerful is this tool. So my goal is advancing tech education and giving opportunities to people like me. And of course, the first part of the job is finding these people. So where are you? This is why every time I make this podcast, of my podcast, it's not about passive listening. So I don't want the people that are here right now are just passive listening and learning, but they actually can reach out to me, to you, and say, okay, let's do things together. How we can figure out to do things together, because that's the value. How we can have practical help from you, and which is the right direction, because that's important for me. Learning, which are all the barriers. This is why I travel a lot, try different countries, and just try to understand different cultures out there. And when people come to me, or where I go to them, I say, hey, have you thought about this? Have you thought about that? Why don't you try this? Why don't you push you in that direction? Because everything that you want sometimes is just on the other part of fear, but you have to identify your fear. As I said before, my fear was speaking in public. My biggest fear was speaking in public. As soon as I started to speak in public, I didn't have no fear anymore. I have other fears right now, and let's see how we can overcome them.
Right.
I quickly wanted to add on that, sometimes we go into traditional schools and there's kind of like what you said, the things that we actually need on the job are not the same that we kind of learn, and we're just like sticking to the books. And then you are in the job and you're like, wait a second, there's coding, there's design skills, there's all these things that are like different tech or creative tools, and you then have to go out yourself to figure a way out how to learn them. I think there's a huge opportunity for us to do better in Web3. And also what you said about, you can now, I feel like in Web3, it's so easy to just reach out to people and say, hey, you build like VR filters. Hey, I have an app. Let's somewhat, show me what you're doing, and maybe we can interlink or do something together. I feel like usually, especially in business or in finance as well, it's super like, everyone's kind of stiff and or don't want to talk about it, or it's really like closed borders. And now it's really like, okay, DeFi, what is DeFi? I can read into it. I can, learn how to invest, and all these things. I think is really, we are lucky to be in this generation that we are experiencing this, I think. Yeah.
Yeah.
This is the generation of love. This is how I go.
I love it. Yeah, I mean, it's so true. Like, I went to school for fashion, and it was like hardcore fashion, one of the best schools in the US. And I learned so much. But while I was in school, it was like, that was the only world I knew, and then you're in this world. And then when you leave school, you realize that, oh my goodness, like there's this whole world out there, and you have to learn new things again, and you realize that you actually learn more on the job, like sort of like this form of, I think the olden days was more like this apprenticeship method, like we kind of call it internship or whatnot, but it seems really valuable because you really learn the real life stuff, and you get to communicate with real life, deal with real life things. And I think there's so much value in that. And so definitely, like you said, maybe the education system, we need to like go back to the drawing table and figure it out. It's too sort of like stifled or restrictive, and it does not necessarily work for everybody, and so perhaps like Joyce said, Web3 is here to make all those changes. I didn't go to school to be a moderator, to be, here. I didn't learn about technology in school. It was mostly fashion and just a little bit of technology for like technical fashion stuff. But here I am, doing this because Web3 gives that opportunity. And so that's super awesome. So my next question for you is, what are your favorite social platforms and why? And what would you like to see improve within the creative economy to enable creators to monetize your content and gain value worthy of their digital work?
Of course, Somnium Space. So I'm not saying just because, of course, I'm working in Somnium, but just because I see the potential here of all the things coming together to a new level. Like we need to rebuild the hardware. I believe that this is the hardware of the future, definitely. And the hardware of the future is wearable. So if we can build our social communication on top of it, we will definitely have more immersion that doesn't have necessary to change, let's say, to be a substitute of our life, and other companies to invest into creators and startups to build wherever they want as an incentive to build. And this is money that you take. Let's say we invest in you, and you are going to. So that's how social media should work. Not right now, in which we have YouTube and other companies that they made an amazing jobs, definitely, but they need to renew, because it's not fair. Companies are making so much on the shoulders of people that make so much less, and they're just a elite of creators that is making a lot. We have to democratize this, and we have to, since social media, and this is the average, an American male is spending like 4 hours per day on social media. 4 hours per day, it's a part-time job. So where is the economic incentive to do this. It's not about branding anymore. It's not about building your social presence. This is bullshit. This is something that needs to be understand that it's not just, this is something that can come from the beginning with a social, with a let's say monetization perspective. We just have to create new way of monetize. For example, coming back to schools, and you will see later, like in the projects that I'm thinking about and we are making. I'm reinventing a way for schools to increase their monetization. So we have to increase teachers' salary. We have to increase budget for schools. So it's all about this. It's all about directing resources to the right point from the beginning. From the beginning, if you can prove that you know how to use it, and if you cannot prove, you can learn. That's everything. Let's put monetization from the beginning into social media, because it's a job. It's not entertainment anymore. And entertainment is fine, amazing. I love entertainment, but let's make entertainment a job too for anyone.
So talking about Somnium Space, maybe you could explain a bit what it is and like what is this focus on right now?
Yes, sure. So Somnium Space is a virtual reality world on the blockchain, aka the Metaverse. So a place where you can instantly monetize your experience. You can also access for free for sure, but you can definitely monetize your experiences. And yeah, you can do so many things inside games. You can socialize, you can definitely make events. So you can, let's say it's a virtual space. Imagine it as a video game where you home different part of this video game, and basically the expansion of it is limitless. So for all the people that watched Ready Player One, the film, that's the point. So this is, I wouldn't call it the future of our interactions. It's definitely the present of other interactions. So right now we have a lot of focus. Definitely we are building the hardware. So it's an open source hardware headset, and that definitely have to, let's say it can impact the developer market. We are building the software, of course. So this word, and it's getting optimized every month. We are getting the interoperability of the blockchain, and that's super important. So we are on Solana, Polygon, Ethereum at the same time, and we are definitely planning to integrate more blockchains. So that's important for, we believe that all the blockchains work better if they work together. So one is better for gas fees, one is better for scalability, etc. And then of course, like the economy part, as I was telling you before, like there is the part with the academy, there is let's say I mean with education, focus on education, there is the part with the creators fund. So definitely the vision, it's creating tools, real tools that people can use to have freedom in terms of jobs, in terms of what they want to do, especially creators. So definitely again, it's creator economy. I mean, we can handle any kind of job. Let's say people that want to do here, we can handle big companies or small creators. We just want to provide all these tech tools in order for you to create your own business with your business model inside this virtual world made of experiences, jobs, games, and all these things interconnected together. So it's fun.
So it sounds like kind of like your own metaverse space, kind of where you can access all these tools and you can basically build on top of it or build within it. It sounds really interesting. You know, the other day I tried out to join like a metaverse gallery, and it's still kind of, if it's the user experience is still, you know, getting there, I guess, you know, but seeing like somebody else there, and it's like you can look at your favorite art with someone online, or, you know, it's really like amazing how this is really realizing now, and yet you have so many opportunities to build your business, like you said, you know, expand on that. Also, I think for me personally, like virtual stores, like clothing stores, there's a whole nother level that is possible. And it's great that you guys are offering all these tools. Also, what you said about multi-chain, you know, that it's that you guys want to integrate that and are not just focused on one blockchain. What is your criteria for like including the blockchain, like choosing blockchain? Like, do you look at like gas fees, or do you look at, what are you looking at when you're looking at blockchain?
So we are, let's say, seeing around us, which are, of course, so Somnium was born on Ethereum. Then we said, okay, we have to create a seamless economy inside Somnium. So a very quick transaction economy inside Somnium, in which people directly from VR are enabled to transfer items from wallet to wallet. So we said, okay, we have to do this. We cannot do it on Ethereum, which is potentially the best blockchain where we can do it. And we started to see, okay, Polygon as a layer 2 can do it, and also Solana. So it's definitely best based on the use cases that we plan to do in the short term, medium term, and long term. And of course, like watching around, okay, which are the most grown blockchains, what their community are saying, if their community are pushing, let's say, to say, oh, I would like to see this integration inside the metaverse. So it's a mix of that. It's a mix of what we need. It's a mix of what's being asked. So these are our criteria. And of course, the tech has to work well. There has to be, and also, of course, like we tend to work with teams that we, let's say, that we have trust in, and teams that trust our goals and they share this our same vision.
That's great. We were like, we've interviewed quite a few guests, and we have some of them say like, we care about the infrastructure and the structures, but what most of them care about the most is like the values like shared with the founders, and just being able to have that sort of direct, communication and being on the same sort of page. I guess the value defines that is very important. And, we've spoken a lot about the metaverse and Somnium, and there are people who still think that metaverse is just a hype, but then Somnium uses that word confidently, like, we have the metaverse and you can experience the metaverse. And so how would you sort of explain this to somebody who is just like, well, I think the metaverse is just a hype, or we haven't yet reached there yet, like it's got a lot of potential, but we're not yet there. Like what would you say to a person who is like, still processing and seeing all this as some sort of a speculation?
Yeah, I mean, metaverse is a hype. If we call it metaverse, just don't call it metaverse, just call it natural evolution of technology. Look around you and see where communication is going, where social media are going, where hardware is going, where biotech is going, where AI is going. So put all these things together, and you just see how, let's say, focus more on human-machine interaction. So right now, what is the human-machine interaction that we have right now? It's a kind of it. How it's gonna be this human-machine interaction over the next 10 years? Look around you, take some time to study, to understand what is needed, not just what you need, but what other people from different cultures need, and put all of this together. Right now, there is an hype around the word metaverse, but Somnium was doing metaverse before probably even the metaverse word was existing. So sometimes we just focus on the what, let's say, on the name, and we're not focusing on the why. And we are saying, and you have to understand that technology is evolving, even if we are not evolving as this. So we're living in this world right now. We're living into multiple industrial revolutions that are going into that direction. So, and I believe that simulation sometimes is definitely a key to test some experiences, some jobs with lowering some cost. For example, this can be applied for enterprise business use of the metaverse. But yes, it's just what some people want. Let's see how many people want. And some people will do it, some people will not. Like now, some people have Instagram and some they don't use Instagram. Anyone is using the tools. It's just that as a humanity, we are creating more tools. Some people want to use it, some people won't. That's easy. That can be applied for anything. So let's just don't hype that word metaverse. It's not necessary. It's actually it's not a good thing, I think.
Right. Thanks for explaining that. Quickly before we wrap up, how do you, if you could just share a few words about, because we're talking about the metaverse and Somnium and how people are actually experiencing this metaverse right now, this world right now. How do you sort of support them in terms of like finding the balance from helping them not to get addicted to this world, which can be quite exciting and everything? So how do you help your customers, should I say, or your community find a balance between spending time in the metaverse and then in the real world? If you could just touch on it quickly before we wrap up.
Sure. Again, it's use the tools that the worlds provide you when you need them,
right,
and if you need them. So that's like my quick answer. Like, just use
right.
something if you need, wherever is it. Just don't go into some place just because anyone is pushing you into this.
Okay, that's great. Well, thank you so much. And just before you go, if you could tell us what you're looking forward to in the future, and if there are like a few words you want to leave with our audience, maybe a key takeaway or just anything, that would be great.
Yes, let's just build this new Web3 world that we're living it, with the potential of working in a more transparent way. And let's apply it to not just to the social creators industries right now, but let's apply this transparency coming from the blockchain to anything that we need. That can be politics, it can be supply chain, or wherever. So let's just be more transparent, and we will avoid some bad things happening in the future, because otherwise I believe we are living in a dangerous future otherwise. So let's just be transparent, and don't be afraid of be who you are. Be transparent always.
So on the note of staying transparent and staying true to ourselves, I'd like to thank you so much for joining us on today's episode. It was such an educative one, and I'm wondering where our listeners can find you on your social platforms.
You can follow me on Twitter, on Instagram. Twitter, it's my name. Just type my name and you will find it, Francesco Vincenti. You will find all Instagram, Discord, Telegram, whatever. Like, I'm in all of them. And if you want to find me inside Somnium, my nickname, let's say there, it's Vince. So it's an abbreviation of my last name, but you will easily find this face with this long hair around the metaverse or wherever.
Right. We can't miss that. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Francesco and Salimi. And don't forget to like and subscribe, and stay tuned for the next NewForum. Have a great evening, guys. And thank you so much.
Thank you so much. See you soon. Bye.